We are going to look at a research problem. We want to understand what is a research problem and which problem actually fits to be researched on, or what issue can one research on. When studying, you will be required to identify a problem from which you frame your topic, your research topic. So what is this research problem that you'll be dealing with? And where do you get it from? And how will you handle it? So in this presentation, we want to answer these questions. So a research problem is a situation that you see in your professional work or practice, or even something that you have read about in theory, that you see that there is a difference between what is supposed to happen and what is actually happening. So you have a situation where there is the reality and what the reality ought to be. So there is a problem. So that situation where you have a gap between what is supposed to be and what you actually see at that particular moment. When you have that situation, that is what we call a research problem. But we also see that not everything that is defined within those parameters will actually make a good research problem. So that is also a distinction that you really need to make. So we often pose the research problem as a research question. Okay? So for example, if you are in the hospital and then you realize that the data is showing that for every 10 women who are pregnant and they are due for labor actually, when they undergo a cesarean section, like about 6 of them end up coming back with sepsis. That is a problem. If the cesarean sections are done in the proper way, then perhaps we could not have situations where we have an increased number of clients who report back with puerperal sepsis. So there's a problem. Okay? There is a problem. So the question could be, what factors are responsible for the increase in puerperal sepsis? So the research question is actually used to express a problem, which is increased number of puerperal sepsis in the maternity ward. So where do you get these problems? These research problems. These research problems can come from any angle. It can be from your observation of your work environment, of what you see in your neighborhoods, or it could come from literature, the textbooks that you read, the newspapers that you read, on social media, okay, on television. It can come from all these sources. Perhaps you could be having a professional discussion with a colleague, and then in your discussion you realize that there is a researchable problem that you might have to undertake in terms of conducting research. But also we have the social, political, and economic dynamics that happen in areas where we stay. So these dynamics change a lot of things, and they could actually result into positive or negative impact. And you could want, or you could be interested in exploring what impact certain political, perhaps policies, are causing on particular populations. We will also identify an area that you have personal interest in and you want to explore it further. Okay, so you could have a particular topic that interests you and you want to develop it and conduct research further and further, such that you can generate knowledge that can be used to solve a lot of problems. So, in summary, therefore, we can get research problems from the practical environment where we practice from as health professionals, or from what we read in the different textbooks. We use research to link the two, that is the theory and the practical. Okay, so we can use we can use practical perspectives or experimental research to prove certain theories. Okay, and we can also, based on theories, to understand how certain phenomena are experienced within a given social setting. So these two things, theory and practical, are interlinked. So how do you decide whether a particular research problem can be given priority such that resources are allocated for you to conduct the research? Because the process of conducting research requires resources. And therefore, we should be able to conduct research that will result into betterment. Okay? So, the research problem should be one that actually there are many individuals who are interested in seeking for the solution to that problem. So, it should have priority. It should be a priority problem that can be addressed. And also, the research problem should not be too narrow. At least let it be broad, but not vague. This is very important because it guides you in how you will conduct the research. If research has ever been done before and you want to conduct the same research again and again using perhaps the same methods, then it could not be advisable. So we suggest that the research problem should be one that has been done over and over again, because you actually be duplicating. So it should be original. Or if you're doing research, or you're investigating about a particular research problem, then perhaps you should differ in how you approach that problem compared to the previous individuals who have done research on the same problem. Research requires resources for you to be able to conduct it. And therefore, you need to look at issues to do with feasibility. Is it practical enough? Do you have the resources to undertake that research? Given the political environment in which you want to conduct a research in, do you have a political environment that is actually suitable for you to conduct research on particular problems? You don't want to run into problems with authorities because of how sensitive a given research problem is to the political elite. And then also, you don't want to conduct research that is unethical. And unethical research is one that may infringe on people's health in a negative way, so it could have harm to the people or the participants that are engaged in that research. Or perhaps it actually puts them in danger when it is a politically sensitive matter. So you don't want your research participants to face any challenge whatsoever, or put them in any risk or harm's way. in whatever way. So ethical research should be one that is consented for, where there is privacy, and also issues of confidentiality are very important in research. What are you going to use the research findings for? So how are you going to apply the findings of the research? If you're not going to apply the research findings, then you may perhaps not be interested in wasting resources conducting this research. And then the other matter is to do with urgency. Urgency relates to the fact that now you could have an existing problem and that problem needs to be solved as soon as possible because it could help in saving lives, or it could actually improve the quality of life of many individuals. That is what we call urgency. Urgency is how fast are the results of this finding needed. So, for example, we had COVID. The urgency for which the vaccine needed to be developed was high because COVID was actually killing a number of people and causing a lot of disruption in people's lives. So it was actually prudent that a lot of research should have been conducted, or a lot of research was conducted to make sure that the vaccine is developed in a timely way to save a lot of lives. A good research problem should be one that does not only have one answer. If you have one possible answer for a research problem, then that is not a research problem. So when you get this research problem, you need to put it in writing clearly such that it can be understood. And we use the statement of the problem to address that. So the statement of the problem captures the following. One is that you have to describe the problem in general terms. What is the problem in general terms? Then you narrow it down to the actual nature of the problem using the relevant resources that you have researched on. And then, given the nature of the literature review that you have conducted about a problem, you develop your own understanding of the problem and propose a way of addressing that problem. In other words, you are basically narrating about the problem using research articles that have been done about the problem and developing a way forward on how to address the problem, which is basically, one can say that when you're concluding this statement of the problem, you may have to reframe the problem again or rephrase the problem such that it is also understood. The people reading the statement of the problem actually understand what you are talking about. So in this presentation, we have noted that we can generate research problems from every angle of our professional and daily lives. But these research problems have to fit into a particular criteria such that you can be able to conduct the research with the available resources without causing any problems to the research participants and also to the authorities in terms of political feasibility. Thank you very much.